Anyone else here for public comment? And third call for public comments. And we'll close out public comments at 6:02. All right, we've got our consent agenda. And do I have questions or comments regarding the
It kind
consent?
of sounds like something changed between last time with the agreement, he said. I mean, that's my only question on.
Didn't it go to City Hall?
What, yeah, I was fixing to say, I don't know what changed on it, but
So when came before this body, a recommendation was made of approval to City Council. City Council did not approve the master plan based on the recommendation that was given by staff. Since then, staff met with the developer and we worked through all the issues that we had with it, and they brought it back to you for a consideration where it's met staff's comments. So now we're recommending approval to this board.
no, that's good. That was just really more of a question, that something, make sure I didn't miss something.
Do you have motions?
Motion to approve the consent agenda, items A, B, C, and D.
I'll second.
All those in favor? And that's unanimous. All right, and we have our regular agenda item A, consideration of possible action to direct staff to provide applicants written statements of the conditions for any conditional approvals and the reason for disapproval of any plans or plats that were not approved per Texas local government code.
So we actually don't need you to have an action
No?
item on this
Oh.
one, since you've approved or recommend approval of all your items on consent.
All right, we'll scratch that one. Consideration of possible action to approve excused committee member absences. Motions?
Make a motion to approve. Regular agenda item B.
Second.
All those in favor? And it's unanimous. Isn't there another item?
Yeah, you have to adjourn.
Yeah,
To open this one.
I thought there was another. Didn't we get something else?
It's a whole different meeting.
Okay,
Hey,
okay.
switch hats.
All right, well then I'm looking for one final motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor? All right. Meeting adjourned at 6:05. Okay, we're going to start the Manvel Education Facilities meeting at 6:06 p.m. Dorothy's not here, Ryan's not here, Kyle,
Here.
Christine's not here, I'm here, Christy,
Here.
Mohammed?
Here.
All right, do we do the pledges again? No? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I, Alina Rogers. Do solemnly swear.
That I will faithfully execute
That I will faithfully execute
the duties of the office
the duties of the office
of the Manvel Education Facilities Corporation
of the Manvel Education Facilities Corporation
of the state of Texas
of the state of Texas
and will, to the best of my ability,
and will,
To the best of my ability.
preserve, protect, and defend
preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution and laws of the United States
the Constitution and laws of the United States
and of this state.
and of this state.
So help me God.
So help me God. Do we do those again? Oh, we have to do them again? Okay, sorry, I wasn't sure.
Do we have to?
Oh,
Yeah, we'll skip it.
okay. I didn't know what the rules were. Right, right. All right, calling for public comments? Nope. Second call? Oh, yes.
No.
What kind of Manvel education facility do we actually have? So I was really wanting to hear about that and why we need a committee for it. So, thank you.
Thank you. Third call for public comments? All right, and close out public comments at 6:08. All right, regular agenda item A, consideration of possible action to approve MEFC Resolution 2022 R01, a resolution relating to approving amendments to certain loan agreements between Manvel Education Facilities Corporation, Bank of America, and Strake Jesuit College Preparatory, and related matters. Jessica? You got info for us, or? Oh, Tammy, I'm sorry, you have info for us?
This is all Tammy.
Oh, okay.
Tammy, do you want to let me lay the ground as how these corporations exist, and then you can get into how we're here for Manvel? Because I have a lot of experience with these type of corporations. I guess it probably came from some smart tax lawyer a long time ago, where they figured out that if a governmental entity goes out for bonds to get something, they get a cheaper rate of interest than any private entity. So when you have a private school competing with, let's say, a school district that has, tax money, the school district gets a lower rate of interest on its bonds, and the private schools weren't. And this is also true for some healthcare facilities and some other what are called public facilities, even though they weren't owned by a governmental entity. So somebody came up with the idea, well, why don't we have a corporation that's a government corporation, and they take out the bonds with the bank, and then we'll be right behind them, and we'll promise to pay off the bonds, so they don't have to do anything, and they're the issuer on the bonds, but everything passes through to the people paying the bonds, and they're out of it. Of course, you have to give them a little something, $10,000, $20,000, $50,000, whatever the incentive is, so that the governmental entity can pretty much create a governmental corporation that does nothing but approves a set of documents at the get-go for 20, 30, 40-year bonds, and they never have to meet again for 20, 30, 40 years unless something changes in the bonds like this. They try to get a better rate of interest and they refinance them, or for some reason they need additional documents. So basically, they never meet. So a long time ago, I guess Tammy will tell you what the story is, but that's why these kind of exist. It's called a pass-through issuer situation, where you're technically on the bonds, but you're not responsible for anything. It's not even supposed to go against the city's credit. And believe it or not, when I was with Texas City, they had one where the bondholders, the people paying the bonds, defaulted on the bonds. And it was, according to some bond attorneys in California, it was the only known instance in the whole U.S. in history where one of these corporations had bonds that defaulted. And of course, they included this healthcare. It was an Alzheimer's facility in Texas City. They included them in the lawsuit, and they got out of the lawsuit immediately because it was a pass-through issuer situation. So there's no liability to the city, no liability to you guys, but it all stems from a set of documents to help, in this case, I guess Straight Jesuit, finance a private educational facility and get a better rate of interest, similar to what a governmental entity. So how it was created in the whole history, I'll turn that over to Tammy, but hopefully that gives you a little bit of background as to what kind of these bizarre corporations pop up like this.
So the how was before I ever got here. But I can tell you from the time that I got here, when these come out, the city's budget was little to nothing. And so what originally started was they use smaller cities that have very little for the sake of bond ratings and very little budgets, and they offered these pass-through opportunities. It was a huge benefit for the city because we got $10,000 per loan when we did it, and we have two of them. You have the Manvel Cultural Education Facilities Finance Corporation. That's the MCEFFC, That one you're not dealing with this evening. And then you have the one that you're dealing with tonight. And so they would do two different ones each year. We'd budget for this, and we looked forward to this. It was like, sweet, we get to do this. When Kyle came, not things were starting to progress a little bit better, and we were looking at the idea that we would be taking out debt over the course of time, and the decision was made that we didn't want any new ones coming on because it affects the amount of debt that we can take on.
From what I understand, and again, when I first got here, I was trying to figure out what this thing was. And like Bobby said, the city didn't really have much to do with it. Because the financial advisors said that there's a limit that the city can issue called bank, oh, no, I've forgotten the term. Bank issued debt, or there's a term for it, and that's not exactly it. You get a better rate if it's $10 million or less on that issued debt. If it goes over that, then you get a slightly higher interest rate. The amount of debt, if there was additional debt issued in that year, would go against that $10 million cap of bank, and I apologize, about that very issue. So I looked at it and went, I don't understand exactly the pass-through on this. I'd much rather deal with the city's issued debt because of what we would need to do. And if you look at these were debts that were issued in 2004 and 2008. And the resolution you have is, I guess Bank of America is redefining, there's some terms in it, and a way that they determine the interest rates. Those are the two things that are in that resolution. So that's what they've asked the corporation to approve the resolution to change, add some definitions and to change how that interest rate is calculated. So that's what we know.
So there's no cost to the, I mean, it doesn't cost this, I mean, actually, they're making money on it, but there's no cost to the taxpayer. It doesn't affect.
No, doesn't affect us at all.
How does it benefit the city again?
At the time, the
'Cause they,
entity that helped facilitate the issuance of the debt paid the city $5,000 or $10,000 to be the pass-through borrower, pass-through issuer. And that was it. So there was some money that the city received to be the gateway to issue that debt, and that was it.
Yeah, from what I remember, that's what we were, and it was roughly 10,000 every time we did it, and it was 1 to 2 a year. So it wasn't anything major, but it was, yeah.
And the last amendment we did, they gave us $5,000. I'm not sure if they're gonna send us 5,000 for this one or not.
But this is just basically a continuation of one that we've already done in the past. We're just kind of fulfilling our commitment or
There were
continuing our.
two debt issuances in '04 and '08, and this is amending some of the definitions in the document for how that interest was actually determined at the time. So that's it.
But you don't take on, we haven't taken on new ones of these since
No.
2008?
No, since 2012. I think there were some in 10 or so. But the corporations themselves were created, I think, in 2000 or 2001.
any other questions, comments, concerns? Nope. Motions?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
All those in favor of the motion? All right, it's unanimous. And one more motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor? All right, it's unanimous. We are adjourned at 6:16.
So you want to send the top, right?
That's all on Tammy. That's why I was like, that's all on Tammy. I was like,